GM, everyone. Welcome to this Twitter space today, hosted by Ludo Labs and Fiago on Football and NFTs, and more specifically, a forum for all of you to come out and roast us on our enthusiasm about the two. Fiago, how you doing?
Absolutely, I'm great. Thanks, man.
You ready?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Just tweeted it and let's see who comes in.
Nice, nice. For all of you guys here, so Fiago, do you want to introduce yourself, perhaps,
Oh,
and then we can
of
dive in.
course. Well, yeah, for those of you who don't know me yet, I am Fiago, 20-year-old German football content creator, you might say YouTuber, Instagrammer. I love football, passionate for football, and have been doing this for 6 years now. And like last year, I also got into NFTs and have started to make a lot of content on NFT football projects, different ones. I'm in love with a lot of projects, for example, Ludo Labs, of course. And today we're going to talk about football NFTs and anything you might want to know about it. And I'm hyped.
Super, super. I think everyone's hyped to have you here. Just to introduce myself, so this is Foresight. I'm one of the founding team members of Ludo Labs. Just to give you guys a little bit of background about what Ludo Labs is, it's one of the first digital membership based football communities in the world, leveraging the power of NFTs. And through the ownership of our NFTs, collectors basically gain an exclusive insight and access into the game of football, while also having the possibility of winning prizes directly from some of the world's biggest players that we have on board, including Fiago's very favorite Paulo Dybala, Edin Dzeko, Diogo Dalot, Miralem Pjanic, Patrice Evra, Mohamed El Neni, and many more. This space is a little bit different. Before we kind of go into a little bit more about Ludo Labs and what you can get from being part of this community, we thought to ourselves, why don't we do this? Because there is a massive reticence, I think, today in the market around football and NFTs, and specifically athlete-led NFTs or celebrity-led NFTs. And we actually laughed about this the other day, saying, what if we do this and we just get roasted by the community? But then we said this is actually the best way to address concerns and hit it head on. So here we are. So before we bring a bunch of you guys onto the stage, which is exactly what we intend to do, Fiago, why don't you talk to us a little bit about your own journey of your entry into NFTs and where you maybe had concerns initially that have been since removed, and where you see this space going.
Sure, would love to. So yeah, I'm actually, unlike many people in the football NFT space, probably not really a traditional expert on crypto NFTs or anything for a long time. I've been like 1 year ago, I knew barely a thing about crypto NFTs, but I don't know. I got into it first up. It was So Rare. Probably you might probably all know that as well. Like 12 months ago, I got into So Rare, a football NFT project. Um, and I don't know. For me, football NFTs is a topic that I'm still wondering why it isn't much bigger than it is right now. Because for me, it fits as it's two topics that fit perfectly together. Personally, I have to say that last year, especially with all that Super League drama and clubs, for me, drifting further and further away from the fans, from the core values of the game. In my opinion, the game didn't really get more interesting for me. It rather got less interesting, I have to admit. And football NFT projects, in my opinion, is a way that can bring the passion back to the fans and shift that power balance a little bit back to the fans. For example, Ludo Labs, you can literally talk to your favorite players. I got a greeting from Paulo Dybala, my all-time favorite player probably, and that was insane. You can get signed jerseys, or for example, So Rare, you can profit off your players' real life performances and not just the corrupt club owners. I think it's just two things that I don't know how you think about it for sight, but I think you think the same way. It's just two topics that I think should have found together way earlier, and I'm happy that they are finding together now with more and more projects coming up.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. I mean, if we just take those two segments, right? So you have football on one side, where the latest reports are saying there are 3.5 billion people around the world that identify as football fans. And then you take a space like the NFT space and the broader Web3 and crypto space, which is exponentially growing at a rate, that has been unprecedented in terms of user adoption, and the actual amount of capital that's going into the space. And you would think hand in hand that there is some sort of transitory process that brings these two together. But I think that with football fans already because of what has happened over the course of the last 10 years to football in different ways, where capital has come into the game. A lot of it is owned by, the TV rights owners or, big football club owners, leagues, etc. Image rights of players have now started to move into the hands of third parties. It becomes very, very difficult to actually see what is authentic within the game itself and what is not. And so I think that with that, when you add another layer, which is this kind of cryptic, I'm going to call it, and mythical land of crypto and Web3, there's already that hesitation that this is another scam. And so it is absolutely understandable to see kind of a lot of the doubt that has come into the space. But for us, and at Ludo Labs, what we've continued to believe from the outset is that what NFTs can do is it can start to create very targeted micro communities around a specific subject matter. And if we take football as a subject matter in terms of having an NFT that may affiliate you to a specific football community, that means that then the possibilities become endless, because you have on one side a business like Ludo Labs where, for example, membership in it gets you access to prizes, interactions with football players, and really starting to kind of re-fall in love with the game in a very different way where your relationship is directly with those players. On the other side, you have platforms like So Rare and others that are coming out with play to earn mechanisms that are enabling for you to actually earn through your love of the game, and that prediction ability to think of who is that next best player starts to become a lot more personalized to you, where there's more at stake than just your word on the line, right? You're now getting into an ability to earn money. And then the last, which are, things that are coming out now and concepts and notions coming out now, like, for example, the ability to own a football club, right? Through a DAO. There are a number of projects that are coming out where people are acquiring football clubs through democratic structures that will enable for any single person to contribute to the ownership of a football club. So there's that kind of multitude of opportunities is opened up for people. But at the same time, because of the constant kind of get rich quick schemes or scam NFTs that come out, or people that come in, post about it, and then leave, it leaves a lot of people holding, the baby and in the bathtub with the bag and everything in between. And so there's obviously going to continue to be that kind of reluctance, but it's, I think, the responsibility of people like everyone actually in this Twitter space or beyond it, who are into football and see that value as well of NFTs, to be able to spread that message that there's a lot more that can come into it, and that authenticity of certain projects will start to shine through, and it's not a short-term game. So I think that that's quite an important point, and I want to bring up actually a couple of people before we talk about anything around Ludo Labs and what's going on. I want to actually start bringing up a few people to ask some questions, and then Fiago, maybe you and I can also talk a little bit about your experience of Ludo and So Rare in a little bit more detail as we go on. How does that sound?
Absolutely, that sounds perfect, man. You want to bring in some people first?
Yeah, perfect. So guys, just before we begin and start bringing people up, two things. So if you want to come up onto the stage, please raise your hand on the space so that we can accept you and bring you onto the stage. At the moment, it doesn't seem that we have anyone that has yet volunteered to come up. Once you do come up, while we encourage as much criticism as possible, as many complaints and roasting and everything in between, please do refrain from using bad or obscene language or putting anyone down, because we want this obviously to be a safe space for everyone. So with that said, we have the first person coming up. That's Ben the Greek. So I'm going to bring you on stage. Ben, are you there? You're on mute, Ben.
Hello, hello, hello.
How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. How are you doing?
All well, all well.
I just want you to know that during the 5 minutes that you've been introducing the project and this space, this kind of theory, I've actually just purchased a Ludo Lab NFT.
Wow.
I've
Love that.
and it's my first one that I've minted. I got told about the project about 4 days ago. I've been watching it. I've been speaking to people in the Discord community, and I was holding on to listen into this conversation just because I wanted to confirm that the guys that were running it were talking sense, and I think I'm actually not going to roast you at all. I'm just going to say that great NFT projects are NFT projects that offer a utility. It's nothing to do with the art. The art is a bonus, and it's fun, and it's a nice thing to enjoy, but it's the actual concept and the utility. It's what you're offering that community in return or in exchange for purchasing the NFT. So you think of it as like as buying a key to a door, and then when you open the door, it's what the people who have sold you the NFT are holding behind that door. And I think you guys are onto something really seriously good, and I'm looking forward to being part of your community, and I'm looking forward to defending anyone who wants to roast NFTs in football. I just wanted to let you guys know that. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you very much. That was incredible actually to hear, and amazing to hear that you had actually minted it while we were chatting. So welcome to the community first and foremost.
Thanks.
That's the most important thing, and really excited to show you what we can do now for collectors. There's a lot that has already gone into it in terms of utility that people have redeemed. So that ranges from whether it's getting a shout out in the easiest sense from your favorite football player, to the second place where it could be earning itself ETH or other NFTs from other projects that can get you more education about the space, to getting VIP match tickets. So that was something that Fiago was privy to as well, which he can talk to you about as we keep going. Actually, there's someone that has just requested to come on stage, which can tell you exactly about what it means to win one of our challenges as a collector. That's Boca Boom, who also, I should say, while he's coming on, is actually the artist that is behind the entirety of the Ludo Labs Genesis collection. So he single-handedly hand-created all 169 traits. Each of the players in terms of the artwork, the backgrounds, the clothing, the jewelry, and everything in between. So Boca Boom, welcome to the stage.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, thank you very much for the kind words. First of all, I would like to say I'm in Madrid at the moment as we speak for the Atletico Manchester United match tomorrow. I got the tickets through Ludo Labs, and not because I'm an artist, but because I'm a holder, and I got a chance to participate in something that actually brought these tickets to a couple of people, not only me. So NFTs and everything, these projects that I worked on, I didn't want to get into the NFT world until there was something tangible, something that I felt is bringing back to people, because a lot of things that I saw were just, quick flip schemes, for people to take money and leave pretty much. But something that I noticed while explaining Ludo Labs to people who were very much interested is just they don't have like hate or anything bad to say about NFTs. They just have hard time of understanding it and just getting into that crypto world, buying actual crypto to buy something. A lot of them would just, buy it if it was, regular stuff. So it's just about that bridge that we need, about that gap that we need to bridge to get people in. And I think that's just a matter of time.
For sure, bro. For sure. No, thank you for the kind words again, and I'm absolutely agreed. I think that that education curve of getting more and more football fans to become aware of the space in a, as I mentioned, authentic way is absolutely critical, and that's where patience is actually the name of the game, because the traditional NFT project, when you look at the space today, and forget the blue chips that are now trading at 5, 10, 15, 20, 100 ETH. Projects that are trading at below their mint value, but have a volume traded of 2,000 ETH, right? Sold out in 7.5 minutes, 10,000, PFPs of different animals, whatever it might be. Actually, there is a lot of value in some of those projects. But within that space as well, what happens is that like anything in life, when there is innovation, there's also exploitation. And so within that same gap, what happens is that people will always attempt to make money. And that has not changed since, before the internet or the Stone Age itself. And that'll continue. So it's important to, one, remain vigilant and always research what you're getting into. But more so, what is it beyond the NFT that can actually come? And to that point, I think that Ben the Greek made a really, really good analogy around, a project like Ludo Labs and other utility NFTs, where purchasing that NFT gets you a key. And that key gets you access into effectively a membership club, digital albeit, but a membership club that gives you perks to a specific interest that you may have an affinity towards. And in this case, that would be football. The same thing can be replicated for, whether it's basketball or tennis or, fine dining for that matter. It could be anything. It's just that interest to aggregate people and a community around a specific topic. And because, it happens to be that we at Ludo Labs all have a massive, massive affinity towards football. Some of us, like myself, work within the space day in, day out as well. And so we saw that opportunity to build something and experiment, because ultimately it's an experiment in itself where we want to see and test the bounds of what it means to actually recreate fan engagement. So, 100%. I mean, Fiago, what do you think about that?
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. For me, it's also the case that I don't know how the news are in other countries, but in Germany, mainstream media news towards NFTs are like so negative, and there's a scam project, and people only see that in the headlines. And whenever anyone talks about a good NFT project, obviously there's those black sheep that ruin the space for anyone else. So I just think that I don't know. I think Ben the Greek said that that he said that I don't really remember what he said, but like there's people don't necessarily hate on NFTs, but people just don't understand the certain projects. And for example, when I talk about Ludo Labs, when I talk about Sorare, other football NFT projects, my community, I don't blame anyone. Like it's normal, but they're like, oh my god, you're talking about NFTs. I heard those are a scam, and I'm like, oh bro, I don't know. It's hard to like you can't fight with these people. You just have to try and educate people on those certain projects, and you can't force anyone obviously to like NFTs. But it takes time. I think it takes time until NFTs really become mainstream, and then like when the internet first started out, I'm pretty sure I was probably too young then, but I'm pretty sure there were like websites that are black sheep and that like were scams, absolute scams. There's still websites that are scams, and people said the internet is a scam. So I think it's just so normal that such a big innovation like NFTs will obviously be looked upon very critically at the start, because we are at the very start. And there are like really genuine projects like Ludo Labs, like many other projects that are having a hard time, like relatively hard time because of those black sheep. But it's just nothing special. It's really normal, and the good projects will find their way, if you ask me.
Exactly. Mason, say one more thing, and then I'm gonna leave it for someone else.
Go for it.
Yeah. So what I wanted to say is, as you said, Fiago, I'm not mad at people that are, hating. It's about education, but there's two things. There are people that praise their projects, and of course they will, and that not always gonna seem, genuine. When somebody says something bad, they always come out as caring for other people. Don't get into it. It's a scam. Da da da, and it's normal for people to base their opinions on that. So whenever somebody gets on Discord or asks me about a project, I tell them, get on Discord, spend a couple of days. You will see a community that is full of love for football, a lot of fun activities, and in the end, if you decide to buy it, buy it. Like, we're not going to pressure anyone into anything. If that's something you love, you will feel the need to buy it and be a part of the community. So that's it. Negative comments, people always try to ridicule new stuff. Like, as you said, the internet, everybody was saying nothing is possible, and today it's, most of our lives are on internet. So it's just take patience, and everything is, gonna be in the perfect order, I'm sure.
For sure.
100%, 100%. And yeah, you are right. You're totally right. Everyone has to do their own research, their own experience. Like probably the best way is get into the Discord of the certain project and make yourself your own image. I don't want to convince anyone to join any project. I'm just the projects that I love, that I support are, I think, very, very beneficial to the community as well, and that's why I talk
Exactly.
about them. Yeah.
Exactly.
On that note, I actually just want to bring something up before we move to the next speaker. Boca, you mentioned, so I mean, obviously you're in Madrid, which we're all, super, super pumped about. And, the fact that there are activities within communities that can keep people active, number one, but also around, again, that certain affinity. So, for example, in the case of Ludo Labs, we have various challenges and trivia questions or meme Mondays that we run. Do you want to talk about the competition that you were in?
Yes. Yeah. Well, as you said, there's a lot of things that are going on. Um, a lot of them are fun, especially meme Mondays. But the first one was the score prediction contest last week of the Champions League group stage, and we were guessing the results of a lot of matches actually. So there were actually four of us or five of us, no, four of us that had the same score. So we went on through the next phase, and eventually there was left only with four of us total that got the tickets. So those match prediction contests are very often, and there's a lot of things you can get by winning one of those.
Nice, nice. Yeah, that was a good one. I remember that one actually. There were like 80 people, and this was super early actually that we did it. And we're gonna actually be running another prediction challenge for the Champions League for the quarterfinals coming quite soon. So keep your eyes open for that one. And Boca, thanks for coming up, and hope you enjoy the match tomorrow. Really hope
I
you
hope
enjoy the match
I
tomorrow.
hope United wins, and well, at least not lose. So I hope for a fun match.
Good
Thank you
stuff.
very much.
Can I just let you all know that I got Dybala?
Nice, nice. What are their
I'm
characteristics?
jealous.
He has like a laser eye thing. I don't know. I need to have a look at it properly. 1 second. I'll show you now. So it is. I posted it on the Ludo Labs chat, and I'm just going into. Sorry, let me just find my OpenSea. Yeah. So he has characteristics, properties. So the lab, multiversal, Paulo Dybala, and then Final Flash 2.0, 1% have that trait, apparently.
Okay,
There
you're
you
in
go.
business.
Anyway, thanks very much. I'm going to mute now and yeah, great stuff, guys. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Cheers.
Stefan, you had a couple of things you wanted to talk about?
Definitely, guys. Firstly, thank you all so much for joining us. Ben, congratulations on the Dybala. That's fantastic news, and really happy that you minted it while you were on this chat with us. That's amazing. I think just a couple of things to touch on. One, we were briefly talking about the type of different challenges and competitions we do. For anyone who hasn't really looked into this, like one of the ways that we try to engage with you guys, with the community, is by just doing fun stuff. And these things are, whether it's me Mondays or Trivia Thursdays, Flex Fridays, whatever it may be, different prediction challenges. It's really a lot of fun. And I think, one thing that NFT projects should focus on is to engage their community and create their community as well as possible. And then secondly, obviously, is having utility that is valuable to the respective holders. I actually wanted to ask Ben, since you're here, now that you've entered this NFT world, what are some key things that you look for, that you would want from a community like this?
No, I'm really glad you asked me, actually, because I speak quite regularly to people. I moderate a couple of Discord servers for other NFT projects, and I'm really, really keen that people do have their do their research, but also that they don't kind of get swept away. There are a lot of people on social media and a lot of people on YouTube and things like that would have you believe that you can just kind of become a millionaire overnight by by buying and flipping NFTs, and it's not true at all. And you are more likely to lose money than you are to become an overnight sensation. My view on NFTs is you should absolutely believe in the subject matter. You should be passionate about what the subject that the NFT is kind of got everything involved in. You should be having a look at who the individuals are that are running the project, and making sure that they've got credibility in their field, that they know what they're up to. But then you should engage with the community. And if you can go into a Discord community and lose yourself for 15-20 minutes and have a really good chat about something that you're really passionate about, and know that you are on a journey through ownership to get involved in that even more, or from a play to earn point of view, or from an opportunity to win competitions, or just to be able to share. And it's exactly what you were talking about at the very beginning of this whole thing, which is football in general. And we can go on about this for a long time, so sorry, I won't monologue for too long, but football is at a real crossroads, and there are lots and lots of people with huge budgets in football, and then there are lots and lots of clubs with very little, and it can be quite divisive, and there's a lot going on. And I think this is a really good opportunity to invest in a community that you believe in, and share your views on those things with people who probably have very, very similar views, and can help you find your way through, and not be so disillusioned, and enjoy the great things like you're on the terraces, and and help you through the bad things. And I think anyone who's moving into the NF space purely to make lots of money, community-based NFT projects shouldn't be for them. And if you are into really, really embracing something, and having a great time, and engaging with the people who are running the project, I think they should be the things that you're looking for. And I realize I've just waffled on for a bit, but I hope that kind of makes some sense.
That's a great answer.
Cool, thank you.
Very, very sound, very, very sound advice, Ben the Greek. Thanks for that. So I saw there was someone named Azar that requested to speak, came onto the stage and left. If you want to come back up, Azar, or if there's anyone else in the audience that wants to come up.
In the meantime, can I just wanted to ask Fiago a question as well.
Sure, mate.
Yeah, just in terms of, I mean, you've now been part of the community for a while. You've seen how it's grown. You've seen, let's say what works and what doesn't work. Where do you think Ludo Labs, what kind of things would you like to see more of? Whether it's, different challenges, whether it's whatever else it may be.
Well, tough question. I actually love most of the parts of the Discord and of the community. I think the trivia is great. The Thursday trivia, I always contribute in that. I always participate. It's awesome, and yeah, there should be way more people doing that, I think. And also I was on that AMA with Diogo Dalot in the other month. I don't know. I think it was in December, and where he just came on, and I just loved that because I've never experienced such stuff before. And we were just like 30, 40, 50 people. And it was such an intimate atmosphere that he was talking as if we were all his buddies and long-term homies, and it was incredible. I also recorded that in my YouTube video. It was like we were talking literally as if we were sitting there and homies from high school. We're just chatting about all kind of stuff. That's what I love. That's what I would love to see more of personally.
For sure, that's a great one actually, and that was a great experience. We're actually going to be bringing that back in terms of that kind of format from next week. So definitely for everyone on the space, keep your eyes open for a couple more of our player partners to come on and do a couple more of those AMAs in intimate settings. Without question, I think that that actually hits to the heart of what we're trying to do, which is creating that direct kind of relationship, which is not stifled by whether it's the agent, the club, the league, whatever it might be. It's a true, actual, direct line between a player and a fan, and that is exactly what we intend to do with Ludo Labs. There's someone else that has just come to the stage, Addy7. We've just accepted you on. Are you there? Addy7? Oh, just went off the stage. You want to request to come back up? While he's doing that, actually, in the meantime, one of the things that we've been talking about, which is a big concern as well for myself, is the concept of doing research on projects in the space. And parallel, if we look at where we are as a society, right? Like, take social media and what the concept of an influencer has become, and whether that's a micro influencer with 3,000 followers or someone like Ronaldo that has 400 million followers. Ultimately, if there are people that, and you have that conversion, there is a sense of, I don't want to say responsibility, but there's a sense of duty where you ultimately are providing to them your views on a specific subject, which that fan or that user or that follower then takes as gospel. So this is one of the biggest things, and I think that has been a massive blocker for football to really take off in the way that we've wanted it to in the NFT space in the short term. This has nothing to do with the long term. But there have been obviously a number of football players that have, pushed products within the Web3 space that they may not know about, number one, or that they don't resonate with. And I think that this point around resonance is really important because irrespective of Web3 and NFTs, what's happened is that with an entire new wave of consumers coming in from Gen Z and increasingly more and more Generation Alpha, people can see through bullshit and people can see through what you're posting and why you're posting it. So if you're posting something which has absolutely nothing to do with what you've done before, and you're saying, hey, buy this NFT of, X animal because it's going to go to the moon, that doesn't necessarily come across as authentic. And in most cases, it's not, because there's a paid contract between person X and an NFT project Y. And that's where, for us, we feel that there is a responsibility for anyone we're getting involved in the project to actually resonate with what we're doing, right? So let's take the first point and then we'll go into the second. I mean, the first point being very important is that our project is about football, and there is that already natural affinity for footballers and a natural pull for them to be involved in a project like this if they are involved in projects. But then you take a second filter, which is the most important filter for us when we were doing this. And as I was saying before at the beginning of the spaces, we're very blessed and fortunate to be in a position where many of us already work within football and happen to have very strong relationships with players, past and present, at the top of the game. And so we had a choice in terms of, who do we really want to work with and cultivate this initial first drop with to build this idea in the right way. And the 10 players that are now on our roster were very, very hand curatedly selected. And the reason and the filter for how we did it was, number one, is there a true and natural care at the moment already for fans? Whether that is a public, facing thing they've done or not, is there that true care for fans? Because one can't say that for everyone. The second thing is there a willingness to learn and to be adaptive and to be flexible and see that there is a changing space that one needs to be part of, and thinking, okay, beyond just being a footballer, this is where the world is starting to move. So how can I be involved in it in a way which enables for me to reward others and reward myself? And that was very important. And hence why you'll see from our player partners, there's a very, very wide geographic disbursement, but there's also a very wide range of, retired players and not. At the height, some of those players are, like Paulo Dybala, 45 million followers, massive exposure online, massive global superstar. And on the other side, you have phenomenal young players that are coming up into the height of the game, like Jeremiah St. Just, plays for Mainz in the Bundesliga, but perhaps is not as well known as Paulo Dybala. But the most important thing is he sees the long-term value of how building a relationship with fans can benefit him, of course, but also benefit that universe of fans of why they're there. And that was really important for us. So I think it's a comment that I've actually heard quite a lot in terms of, football players just post whatever they post because they get paid. And for us, we don't want that to ever be the case. In fact, we don't want to work with anyone, irrespective of how many millions of followers or power they may have, if they're not interested in the actual product itself. So I felt that was quite important to bring up. Fiago, what do you think about that? I mean, just in terms of, the influencer space and NFTs in general. Let's take football aside, right? We can dive into the football point, but what do you think about, that crossover and how that experience for you has been?
Yeah, a very, very interesting point, man, because I think that is exactly the part that separates, like, yeah, good NFT projects from bad ones. Like, not only that, but that's a big, big part, because once you get a footballer on that like doesn't really resonate with the project, that doesn't really care about the project, just doing it for the bucks, then I think it's like that ruins your whole project, because people will say, like, this whole authentic yeah, experience is gone then. So very, very wise decision to only pick players who are really, really into this. And I think the same thing goes for influencers. There are obviously the image that influencers have is horrible, I would say, because every time someone asks me, "What do you do for a living? For what do you do?" I just hate to say influencer, because it sounds horrible. Because so many influencers are just, yeah, they do anything for money. We know the image that influencers has, and to some extent it is very, very true. And yeah, that's why I am also very careful with what I do, what I share, and I don't really do any of those paid promotions. Very, very handpicked. I only cover football NFT projects that I play myself, for example, So Rare, or that I am in the community, where like Ludo Labs. I am in the Discord. I do the trivia day weekly. I chat in the community, and so I also covered that on my YouTube. And there's, like, I don't know, very, very many football NFT projects that of course contact influencers, and I'm also, like, including me, but I have only worked with two or three of them so far. So that's the key. Also in this football world, especially, you said let's move away from football, but especially in football, I think, where fans are, like, trusting their idols less and less. For also with footballers, more and more scandals. People are saying, let's not idolize these guys anymore, because we hear it every day, every week. Some footballer gets, yeah, cancelled, we would say, and people say, okay, these guys are, there's a lot of bad guys there, and so those genuine guys, they are very, very rare nowadays, and also with influencers. And so you also always need to watch out what you do, who you work with.
Without question. I mean, I remember when you and Chairman spoke for the first time, and Chairman came back to us and said, "Listen, I told him," and we all agreed, and we laughed, because it's so different to the way that a lot of projects approach, people of influence. I'm going to call it, because I don't want to use the word influencer for you, but don't don't post anything, don't talk about us, don't do anything if you don't like the project. In fact, if you don't, please shit on us, right? Like, we want that, because ultimately, if you have people who are promoting your project or talking about your project, whether it's one tweet from someone who has 20 followers or 200,000 followers, it doesn't matter. If it's not authentic, then ultimately you're hurting yourself in the long term, because them putting one tweet up and then going and then drowning it into a bunch of things around 100 more giveaways, it just makes it look very scammy. And I think that for us is quite important. And we've had questions, and actually complaints to a certain extent around, why aren't you guys pushing, digital ads and marketing, and in the traditional sense that a lot of NFT projects are doing to immediately sell out. And our response always is that we can do that, right? We can push hundreds of thousands of dollars behind different, digital ads and different things like that. But once you start going into that territory and you start attracting people, fine, there's eyeballs in one sense. But in the second sense, it's very important to bring in people who want to be there for the actual purpose of being there. And so for us, we'd rather build an organic community, start small, like you said, right? Diogo Dalot, we did an AMA and it was 30, 40 of us, but that was so nice. I mean, I liked the way in which Diogo himself as well said, I loved the way in which I was interacting with people one to one. Everyone coming onto the stage, he was chatting with them, getting to know them, getting to understand who they were, why they were in the space, what they thought about him, what they thought about United. Like you said, it becomes, just boys sitting around a couch and chatting about football. And that's what we want this to be. So without question, I couldn't agree more with you. Anyone else want to come up to talk about their experiences with football and NFTs, or to perhaps give a couple of their concerns about the space, in terms of why they think that there are potential risks in the space. Please, we encourage everyone and anyone to come up, talk about whatever you'd like to. Is there anyone that's in the audience that wants to come up and chat? So while perhaps people start to muster the courage to come on stage, Fiago, I wanted to chat to you as well about something which happened pretty recently, where everyone woke up one day and saw the floor very, very different, in the sense of what it was at Ludo Labs, because that is also again one of the things which we saw. And you and I actually talked about this, right? In terms of when people look at NFT projects, the first thing they look at, if let's say they don't have the time to diligence the project in detail, is let me go to OpenSea, let me see the volume traded, let me see the floor, and if anything stands out which I don't like, I'm out, right? So obviously for us, there were people who were listing significantly below the floor, but then much to the heroism of Mr. Fiago 7, that changed very quickly. So do you want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So don't know when it was, 4 or 5 days ago. I did buy I did have two NFTs minted, but I did buy like 17, 18. Yeah, now I have 20, 18 NFTs from OpenSea, Ludo Labs NFTs. Yeah, beautiful NFTs, and those were all, as you said, listed below the floor, and yeah, the people obviously appreciated that a lot, the community members, but I did it mainly because, number one, as you said, this is not like a get rich quick scheme, flip project. This is a long term project. This is the NFTs hold long term utility and value, and I did buy them not for myself mainly, but just to give many people, yeah, in that case, up to 20 people, the chance to experience this themselves. Because I have had the luck to own two already, and to be in the community for 3 months, 4 months already. And now I want to step by step give those away to community members or people who want to become community members. But obviously, there's many people who just cannot afford the NFTs or are not in the NFT space yet. So I want to give them the chance to witness what it means to be in the Ludo Labs community and to be a holder and to relive all those experiences. For example, I was in Milano with Supercoppa Italiana with my buddy, Inter against Juventus. That was due to Ludo Labs. I got a greeting from Dybala and all that good stuff. And I want people from my community to experience that as well. And maybe then they tell their friends about it, and that stuff grows. And I would love that, because Ludo Lab simply deserves that. So we're already doing the first giveaway right now, actually. So if you check my Twitter, I think it's my pinned tweet, you can already participate. It's a beautiful Pjanic giveaway. And I think, what do you think, man? Should we reveal that at the end of the space already?
Let's do it. Why not? Why not?
Awesome. There's like 145 people entered right now, and you still have time until the end of the space. And I'm going to raffle the winner, and the first one already gets access to the community.
Sick. No, absolutely love that. And thank you for those kind words. And I think that, one of the points that you mentioned, which is quite important, is that two things. One, people perhaps don't come across projects all the time, right? And secondly, the ability to experience the sorts of experiences that our player partners, have very fortunately brought to the table with their involvement in Ludo Labs are things that fans cherish. And I think that enabling for more and more fans to be able to experience that can start to define what it means to own an NFT that gives you that entry key, to Ben's point earlier, around being in a community, but getting actually access into a closed door behind that community itself. So it's a sub community of collectors within a larger universe of people who already have that kind of natural like-minded nature and shared kind of passion and love for the game. So I love that. And, on that note as well, in terms of, the ability for people to get into the project, one of the other concerns that actually this is a specific concern that has been addressed to Ludo Labs with many people actually that have spoken to us about this, is the mint price. being at 0.15 ETH versus, let's say the 0.08 ETH mark, which a lot of, 10K projects have as the standard base. Other ones have 0.2, others have 0.5, whatever it is. We decided to go with 0.15, which today equates to, $400, $500. The reason why it's kind of, let's call it a little bit higher, was because of the fact that we wanted to initially start with a funnel of people who were within the space and then build and grow and grow and grow. And so a lot of the collectors actually that we have today, if we take kind of a dissection of the people who are within our kind of universe of collectors, we could say that probably about 75% are first-time NFT holders. So these are people who have come in for the first time, looking at this as an investment of CapEx, coming in and getting that utility and benefit out of it and being part of that community. But again, we also recognize that is a high bar. And so what we've done is through a lot of the activities that Boca was and yourself were talking about earlier that we run in the Discord, we've enabled for more ways for people to be able to earn by being in our server. So whether that is from gaining prizes through your knowledge of football. So on Trivia Thursdays, every Trivia Thursday we run prizes, whether that's dollar value, ETH value, or free NFTs. Topics going from AFCON to the Champions League to Premier League to which player am I. Very, very different kind of things. Separately as well, we're running a fan art prize as well this week, where you submit your fan art on players, which comes as well to those who perhaps have a different type of affinity to the game. We ran another one last week, which is actually being done now, which is Modahood, and us running a skill challenge where people submitted their skills as footballers on the pitch, where Modahood will choose actually his favorite skill of the submissions. That person will get an NFT sent to them in the form of an Elite Collection NFT, which will be a one-of-one piece with an ability to redeem a signed match-worn jersey from Modahood, and as well get a Ludo Labs NFT. So these are kind of elements where you can earn through our server. But beyond that, what we also decided to do, which I think was a little bit innovative in terms of how we structured it on the back end, but also in terms of the NFT space in general, was we created the concept of an Ludo Lab Scout. And with our Scout program, just so everyone on the call as well is clear about what that is that you can apply, and there's no kind of screening process for that. You just put in a couple of your details and become a Scout, where you can create your own code that, let's say, for example, and Fiago has one, which is Fiago 15. If you go to our website and you mint with that code, Fiago 15, you as the buyer will get a 15% discount on your purchase. And Fiago in the back will also get a 10% cashback. So there's an ability for incentive as well to drive more and more of your friends and people who you feel would organically and authentically want to be part of this project to join in, but you can also benefit from that. And I think that's where, again, it's quite important for us to put things into perspective, why we kept that mint price where it was, but also how we are looking to address the prohibition around that price being perhaps a little bit higher to get people in through their participation in our server. Wolfie, I just saw you come onto the stage. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Yes, I am. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
All good, all good. For those of you that don't know Wolfie is as well one of the co-founders of Ludo Labs, and is a wolf in every sense of the word. He is the hunter of players. He is the hunter of the football ecosystem. So welcome to the stage.
Oh, thank you.
And a survivor of his current Omicron COVID, which he's just come across.
Yeah, unfortunately, wolves also get COVID. It is what it is. No, thank you for having me. Fiago, it's great to have you as well.
Thanks, man.
Great.
Thanks for having me.
No, absolutely. I think one question I have, and I think I'd like to ask this to our host, which could be great for everyone here to know a little bit about Ludo Labs and the artwork behind it. How were these players born in Ludo Labs, if I may ask you? And, what is the story behind Ludo Labs, given the video that came out when it was launched? I think that would be a good story to tell if you don't mind sharing that with us.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, basically, the genesis of the story behind Ludo Labs, in the lore format comes as follows. So, we as the Ludo Lab scientists, which are all of the captains around the table, all had ambitions and dreams when we were young to be football players, and much to the distress of many of the captains, and some of them will disagree with me, but none of us were good enough to hack it at the top stage. And so that dream unfortunately couldn't become a reality. But what that could allow for is that we decided to create a time machine that would take us into a parallel universe that we could ultimately become professional footballers in that parallel universe. And so we powered that time machine through ETH and the ETH crystal. And so all of us were terrified, obviously, to click the button when it came time for it. And so we brought in a mercenary called the Swag Lord, which is visible across all of our content, and much more to come from the Swag Lord. The Swag Lord came in, clicked the button with full confidence, but unfortunately, there was a massive malfunction from the intern in the lab, who's also listening to this call. And rather than us going into parallel universes as footballers came into our universe as different characters from their parallel universes and their kind of parallel identities. And so that's where you see, the final flash Dybala that Ben the Greek picked up, or you see, the Viking Valhalla Miralem Pjanic, or the vampire Miralem Pjanic that Fiago is actually giving away now. And each of these characters came back in the form of shards, which are NFTs. And ultimately, it is up to the community and football fans to restore that order, that law and order back to our universe by collecting those cards, where our footballers will reward our fans with various components of incentives for collecting those cards. But the most important thing is that we bring that stability and order back to this universe. So that's kind of the backstory behind Ludo Labs in the more geeky tech realm of things. Fiago, did you know that actually?
I was just gonna say, I actually never knew that backstory, but it sounds amazing, really. It sounds cool.
It's right for metaversal, let's call it roadmap, and that's all I'm going to say at this point, because there's a lot that we're working on that side as well.
All right.
Super. So anyone else wanna pop onto the stage and give some of their kind of comments or concerns or their testimonies about football and NFTs? We'd love to kind of hear more from the community. So while you guys are requesting to come up onto the stage, just wanted to also flag a couple of things that are going to be coming up quite soon. The first of which is that we're going to be screening a Champions League game on our Discord server tomorrow. So by unanimous decision from the community, we're going to be doing the Atletico United match tomorrow at 8 p.m. GMT on our server. So that'll be screened live, where everyone will get a chance to come in and we'll chat, about football, life, and everything in between, as the game is ongoing. Hopefully, we'll see Boca Boom on the stage, on the TV, on the screen when we dial in, because he's at the game himself with a nice little Labs ticket. That's one big one coming. The second, which I think, just to reiterate, is important. We are running a competition this week for fan art. Where we've encouraged the community to submit to us fan art of players from the lab. That'll be open for a week, where you can put in whether it's a video or it's a picture or a song. If you want to rap about your favorite player, please do go ahead and do it. Prizes for this one this week will be that we will memorialize that fan art in the form of an NFT, which you will be airdropped directly. You will also receive a signed version of that NFT from the player in question. So let's say, for example, you created a Paulo Dybala fan art piece. We will have that framed in real life, signed by Paulo, and sent to you if you wish. and a cash prize on top of that. So that's a pretty cool one. We've been getting some cool submissions in, which will continue to feed through on our Meme Mondays channel on the Discord. 2 or 3 other things which are coming very, very soon for you guys to keep in mind. As I mentioned, we're running an AMA early to mid next week with one of our superstar players on the platform, on the roster, which should be a really fun one. Whether we have that on Discord or Twitter, TBD, we'll be letting you guys know very soon. The second thing to talk about as well is we're going to be running a collector raffle for one of the NFTs that is being held in the Ludo Labs intern wallet at the moment. And so keep an eye out for that. That's going to be a participation raffle for our collectors. So if you aren't a collector and want to see what that potential prizes that are in our roadmap are, please just check out Ludo Labs interns OpenSea account. And then the last is in the beginning of March, in the first 2 weeks of March, we're going to be doing a pretty cool meet and greet experience as well with one of our players. So lots coming on the horizon in terms of kind of more larger activations and larger, let's call it competitions for our collectors to take part in. But that being said, we will always continue to run public competitions as well for those of you that are not collectors, because going back to the point around price prohibition, we totally understand that and see that there is absolutely value in continuing to build and build and build. So just a couple of points there for everyone. And I'll stop there because we have community member and fellow collector actually coming to the stage, Jay Walks. I'm going to bring you up. There you go. Jay Walks, can you hear us?
Hi,
Hey,
how's it
how are you?
going?
Hey.
Just a
All
question.
good.
I missed the first half an hour, so I don't know if you covered it or not. But no, my question was what do you guys think? What mistakes do you think you've made so far, and how will you go about it differently in the future?
Great question. I think a couple of learnings that we've definitely started to pick up on and think about, and this is where I think that our team as a structure and the patience that everyone within the team has is quite important to withstand as we kind of go through the next 6 months of the Web3 space. The first is perhaps not having educated enough football fans specifically and addressing football fans in terms of the concerns and doubts that already existed within the space as one. And separately, number 2 is actually educating and on-ramping people into the space. For us, perhaps as natives in the space, we maybe took for granted how easy it perhaps was for us to on-ramp ourselves into the Web3 universe. But actually, when you take a step back and you look at person X living in Y country, when they're signing up and building a MetaMask wallet, it says, take these 12 words, and if you forget these 12 words, everything is gone forever and you'll never recover it again. You immediately leave because you're terrified. And so our education of what it meant to actually purchase an NFT, what that NFT got you, and moving forward was an important I wouldn't say oversight, but I'd say something that we didn't necessarily focus a lot of time on, which we are absolutely looking to rectify. The second thing, which kind of goes hand in hand with that as well, is the ability to actually purchase the product with ETH only. So our mint was only in ETH and continues to be only in ETH. We are looking for various on-ramp solutions at the moment, which make it easier for community members and users to purchase our product without having to have ETH in their wallet. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be a pretty big announcement that we're going to be running in the next few weeks. That's a big one. The third one, I think, in terms of a learning that perhaps we should think through and is very actually important and salient as a point is the reliance in terms of the exposure and visibility you can create from the football ecosystem, and getting a post up which gets 50 million people to see it, let's say, for example, that doesn't necessarily translate into conversion within this space, right? The NFT and Web3 space has moved on massively from what the traditional kind of Web2 user acquisition strategies were. And so perhaps we relied in a Web 2 format in terms of visibility creation for a Web 3 product. And so trying to marry those two has been a very important learning curve for us. And so, for us, we're looking at various ways now that we can activate that Web3 community, that it have existing capability to purchase via ETH, but also, again, on-ramping in an educational format for football fans to get more acquainted with what this universe actually looks like. And to Ben's point earlier on the call, that actually this is not a traditional NFT project in the standard set of what it looks like, where you have the art and that's what you hold as the residual value. For us, this is a key and an access point into the game that has not otherwise been attainable for football fans. So those are a couple of learnings. I'm not sure if that answers your question, Jaywalks.
No, yeah, that's brilliant, and I appreciate the honesty. I think everybody listening who's part of it will appreciate that as well. I'm just excited for the future, really.
Super. And we're actually, one thing as well to look forward to over the course of the next few months is in micro moments, but also in bigger activations. We're going to be running, challenges that get people into five-a-side games that we'll be hosting as Ludo Labs ourselves. And we've seen a couple of the guys. Jaywalks actually submitted a pretty good video into the Modahood skill challenge with the Rabona. So he's definitely in the running for the five-a-side starting team. But as well as we grow and build more towards time when there is time off for our player partners as well, having games with them. And I think that is something which, some of us have been very, very fortunate to experience, but is just something that you cherish for the rest of your life if you're a football fan. When you're assisting, Miralem Pjanic on goal. Wolfie can talk to you a lot about that because he's had his fair share of assists to various footballers over time. Wolfie, what do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the greatest experience ever. I've been very fortunate to have the chance to play with a lot of players like Pjanic, Dalot, Sanya, Evra, Dzeko, everyone that's been there. Hence why we hunted them down as well, and we brought them into Ludo Labs. And if anybody would like to get that experience, we'll make sure to make it happen. The greatest thing about learning from these guys is that at the end of the day, they're just human beings, just like us. So, to everyone out there who wants to become a football player, the biggest advice from each and every one of them is just work hard, believe in yourself, make sure you have the right people managing you, and it will come. And absolutely, if any way we can help you guys, we'd be more than happy to help everyone as well. I mean, on that note, I wanna see the engagement of everyone here, and if everyone can do a clap or a heart, we're currently considering new players in the pipeline. Um, and I know that nobody could say anything here, but of course, I could see a lot of reactions. So that means everybody would be excited to have new players on board for sure. So keep in mind that that's a part of our pipeline within this year, and we'll make sure to have world-class players who've been informed and briefed, and we'll make sure we can bring them on board. The only thing we could say, it's possibly a Premier League player and a very big player that's going to be joining us. So fingers crossed, and let's see what we could do. But before we get anyone on board, we need to make sure that we can sell out and get that target up and running for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, on that note, in terms of sell out versus not, and when that next player comes, and actually the group of players that you and I have been chatting to over the course of the last few weeks, who are super keen to join us on this journey, I think that the responsibility that we have towards our existing players, in the pot, and let's not take lightly who these players are. They've accomplished the heights of the game. Is quite important, and we take that quite seriously. And so, I hope that the existing community members and collectors that have been a part of this, have seen the value that these 10 guys that are in here already have provided to the community. But then more so, and I think this is the important point, is that there's so much more that can be unlocked. I mean, and this is where the beauty of a direct relationship to a football player without, having an agency or an agent or a league or a club or whoever it is in between, is that we literally sit, and I think this is where for us we have that patience to run this for forever, is literally we sit around the table, whether it's us or with our football player partners, and we say, what are some cool ideas that we should run with our community, and even they come up with some really cool stuff. I mean, this skill challenge was not just cooked up by us alone, it was with our player partners, and a lot of the stuff that we do is actually driven by our player partners. One of the things that happened a couple months back was one of our collectors mentioned he was going to Old Trafford for the first time, and he was a United fan. We literally told Diogo Dalot, there is someone coming to the game. We did not ask him to do anything. He said, please put him in touch with me. Please tell him that I'm ready to meet him at the game. I want to see him. I want to thank him for being part of Ludo Labs. And to individually do that and to one collector just shows the character of the guys that we have on board. And to that point I talked about at the beginning of this space around the filtration system that we actually have implemented to get our player partners on board is very, very, very important. So actually, I just saw that the collector in question has just requested to come on stage. So maybe he can tell you the experience. Maybe I'm totally bottling how it actually happened. So I'll bring him on now. Bassem. Bassem, are you there? We can. How are you?
Thank you for bringing me up. Yeah, I just wanted to say that it was an amazing experience, and it was surreal because on that night, United had lost actually, and no player was approaching anyone. And it was only like Dalo went straight to me, and it felt like everyone was like very surprised, like they thought like I knew him. And no, it was really good, and he gave me his shirt, and he signed my shirt also. So it was awesome.
Amazing. And your friend with you that day, I remember, minted two Ludo Labs cards.
Yeah. So my friend also I made him mint one card during the trip. So he's also part now of the family.
Yeah. Nice, good stuff.
If I may jump and say something here for everyone to know as well. Something's going to be launched soon by some of our players, and it's in partnership with another brand that we're going to be working with. And I think that goes back to the value of your NFT coming into place. Today, digital art is something that is massive. And when you look at frames, you always question, how are you going to frame your NFT? So we are and have been discussing, and I would like to, of course, let Foresight say that more than me, but are in partnership with a brand called Token Frame. And in the event any of you guys who would like to have a piece of that, you can always let us know. And given the fact that we have a good relationship with, they're actually giving to some of our players token frames where it's a digital frame that you can actually frame in your house. And that's a piece that you could have and display all of your NFTs, not only Ludo Labs, because we are not only looking out for the best interest of ourselves, but I'm pretty sure that all of you have different collections other than Ludo Labs. But that's something for everyone just to keep in mind in case anybody would like to get a token frame. Just to let us know, and we'd be more than happy to help you guys as well.
For sure. Cool. So, I mean, I just actually looked at the time. We ran over a little bit, but I want to turn it back to Fiago. Fiago, do you have any kind of ending comments that you want to leave the community with, or perhaps maybe some more of the concerns that you actually had early on that you kind of dispelled over your own journey of exploring the football and NFT space together, not just about Ludo Labs. I mean, we've talked a lot about Ludo Labs, but generally about the space at wide and at large.
Yeah, maybe. Well, at first, I told you already in the beginning that I, like 1 year ago, I had no idea about NFTs, and I always thought that, like, I had heard about them, and I thought like they're super risky, and it's just a flipping thing, and that was my main concern actually. But I never actually knew that there were projects that had like the community at their core and as their most important part. So yeah, that's when I got into Ludo Labs, actually, that was my first NFT project where I really saw how the community is working together and how the community is helping each other out. And yeah, I also mentioned that in my first YouTube video, and it was totally my honest opinion. Like, it was just my honest analysis on the project, and That's what I still think, and that's why I will love to give these NFTs away over the next weeks and months.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for those words. And just before we turn to the raffle, there was one more person who had requested earlier that I've brought back up to the stage. So Akil,
Yeah,
is it
yeah,
Akil
yeah.
Kupam?
Yeah, can you hear me?
How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. How are you?
All good?
Yeah, so I've been like I got into NFT like 5-6 months ago, and I came across many nonsense NFT projects, and I think I got to know about Ludo Labs like a month or so ago through one of Fiago's videos, and like I joined the Discord server, and I really like how unlike many other projects like I've come across, this project is like really interactive with all the holders. Like as of now, I don't hold any NFTs of Ludo Labs. I'm thinking of getting one, but I really like how like how you guys interact with everyone who hold. It's like one family. So I just wanted to say that how this project is really great.
Thanks very much, Akil, for the kind words. Really, really appreciate that. And that's exactly what we strive for. I mean,
Yeah,
this
like
is much more than being just an experiment. It's about building a community.
yeah.
Super cool. So guys, I mean, I think the last thing that we'll wrap up with is Fiago has a little giveaway that he's been waiting to give out to everyone. So Fiago, you want to do it now, or what are you
Indeed, I
thinking?
just I just randomized the winner from all the retweets while you were talking, and let me just check. I did a screenshot. I can also put up a tweet maybe of the screenshot. Then the winner is 1 second. It was like 160 retweets, so very, very nice in like 2 hours. Thanks for all your
Nice.
engagement. And I don't know, can I tweet while being in a space? I think I can, right? I think I can. Yeah, okay. The winner is, let me just check his ad. I think it's called Said, SAID, Said DDK31. You are the winner of the Ludo Labs. I don't know if you're in the space. I don't think he is, but just type this. Just type this here.
Congratulations,
All right.
Saeed.
Congratulations, Saeed, man. I just tweeted it, and whether you, I don't know, if you're listening, congratulations. And I'm gonna get back to you. I'm gonna DM you later, like right after the space, and then we can sort it all. I'm gonna send you the Miralem Pjanic. And yeah, I hope he's gonna have a lot of fun in the community. And for all the others that did not win, don't worry, there is a lot of more chances to come, and I'm gonna reveal all those on my Twitter, on my Instagram stories in the next weeks and months. So yeah, a lot of people will get the chance to become a part of the Ludo Labs community.
Super. So guys, thank you very much for being in this space. I think we'll conclude here. And Fiago, thanks very much as well for taking the time to come up. I
Thanks
feel
for
like
having me, man.
I feel like we escaped the wrath of the complaints a little bit, but we're
Maybe.
gonna be hosting a few more of these where you guys can come on and complain about football and NFTs and your concerns. We really want to hear them because we'd love to address them here at Ludo Labs, but also think about how we can collectively grow as a community, because ultimately, football fans, whether they're in Ludo Labs, whether they're in Sorare or Zilstars or any of the other projects out there, it's important that we think about this space collectively and build together, because the more and more football fans come in, the more and more all of these projects will actually gain traction, and more importantly, help redefine the way that we actually interact with the sport. Beyond the value attribution that you can get from owning an NFT, it's very important for us to think about how we can use Web3 to really test the bounds of what fan engagement means, play to earn, fantasy football, owning a football club, as I mentioned earlier. These are all things that are now possible through the decentralized web. And so we're really excited to be very early in this journey with many of you on this call. And for anyone that came in a little bit late, I'm seeing a couple of people popping in. The whole space has been recorded, so it will be available on our Twitter. But more so, we'll also create an edit of it and post it on our Discord and on our socials for everyone to hear. Thanks very much, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care. All the best.
Cheers.
Ciao.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.